Welcome to the Growth and Scale Blueprint series, and today I'd like to share with you the science of maximizing your advertising ROI with Amazon PPC. All right, so just to give us a context of things, because Quishi's team was talking about all the different ways, all the different ad types that you can use. So for today, what I'll be covering is specifics into the optimization. Is my mic going off and on, or it's fine? It's okay, yeah? All right, great. All right, so again, just to recap, right? Okay, ad types, I'll be covering the optimization in terms of your bidding. So that's the focus of my talk today. So before I begin, right, just a quick shout out to my company over here. Oh, yeah, pretty sure it's off. Okay, if you don't mind. So Scale Insights is founded by a group of sellers over here, right? Okay, we have a combined experience of over $150 million selling on Amazon. Okay, so we are software that empowers brand owners, right, to not only uncover actionable brand insights, but also automate and implement this, taking your PPC game to the next level. We are also the finalist in the 2022 Ad Awards for innovation and scale technology. So this is a little bit about our company. So a little bit of myself. My journey on Amazon began in 2016. Okay, I was able to scale up 2 brands with a 7-figure exit in 2021. And now my day job is the head of seller engagement at Scale Insights. And what I do is that I get to talk to a lot of advertising agencies, brand aggregators, Amazon sellers, brand owners, 8-9 figures. So that gives me the opportunity, right, to figure out and find out what's actually working when it comes to PPC. So this is a little bit of myself. So today, what I'll be exactly sharing with you is 2 undervalued metrics that even veteran sellers are overlooking that's costing them rankability and profitability. Secondly, right, I'll share with you a scenario-based model that will allow you to not only spot rankable keywords and also protect your profits in a fast-changing environment. And thirdly, right, I'll deliver to you an actionable bidding optimization SOP. So this is what I'll be sharing with you. So before we get into the meat of things, I just want to get you guys warmed up. So we are in terms of the topic, right? Okay, so I've got 2 quick polls that I really, really appreciate if you guys can help me to participate in. But poll number 1, what is your top advertising goal? So I have 4 options over here. You must choose only one. It cannot be all of the above. It must be only one. All right, okay. What is your top advertising goal? Brand awareness, number 1. Number 2, maximizing ROAS. Number 3, reducing ACoS and TACoS. And number 4, sales and conversions. These are the 4 options. Option number 1, raise your hands. Okay, by the way, you can raise your hand 4 times so you can. All right, no, just choose one, okay? Brand awareness, number 1. Okay, number 2, maximizing ROAS. All right, okay, reducing ACoS, TACoS. Okay, and then sales and conversions. Okay, great. All right, okay, great. I saw the hands move very fast. Okay, so I'll be covering on that. All right, okay, so it's point number 1. Point number 2, what aspect of PPC do you find yourself spending a lot of time on? What's most time consuming for you? Option number 1, keyword and async targeting research, the ad creation itself, bid management, or the performance tracking. Right, again, number 1, is the keyword research is the one costing you most of the time. Okay, some people over here. Ad creation. Okay, bid management. Okay, and then performance tracking. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so these are just to get to know yours a little bit better. So now moving on to the meat of things. Right. So I mentioned, okay, I'll be focusing all my attention on bid optimization. So when it comes to bidding, right, I'd like to suggest to you this thing what I call the base model. So a model is basically a useful simulation of what reality is. So the more I simulate reality, the better I can respond to what changes are happening. Right? So in the base model, there are basically 2 different scenarios. There are 2 main scenarios. And all of you will know this, very simple. Right? The base model is if you have orders, that's one scenario. You have no orders, that's the other scenario. All right? So every scenario, there's a follow-up action, right? So if you have orders, the action you should take is that you should optimize the bid, right? You have some certain target ACoS in mind. I'll adjust my bid accordingly based on that ACOS in mind. So what if I have no orders, right? I'll then also adjust my bid as well. But you adjust your bid typically based on the number of clicks that you receive. So the more clicks that you get, see this table over here, right? The more clicks that you get and you have no orders, the less confident you are on that keyword, you naturally want to lower down the bid for the keyword. So this is the base model. Two scenarios, have orders do one thing, no orders do another thing. So the good thing about this base model is a very simple, actionable model. But there's a problem. The problem is that it does not factor in the individual keyword performance. And the obvious question is that, why does this even matter? So I'll address this question, why does keyword performance matter in a moment's time? But when it comes to keyword performance itself, generally speaking, there are two types, right? There are the good keywords, there are the bad keywords. And I like to say that conversion is key over here. So here's where, okay, I'll extend the base model, right, one layer higher. So the base model now will include conversions, right? So now factor in the conversion rates of the keyword, and I'll extend on additional scenarios and how to take note, how to deal with them. So conversions, again, similarly, there's good conversions, bad conversions, right? So good conversions, let's say above a 20% conversion rate, that's considered a pretty good conversion rate. What I'll do is that, which he mentioned as well, I'll start to bid more aggressively. So perhaps the question is that, why do I bid more aggressively? It's because the keyword is converting, right? Which means the keyword is doing well. I'm more confident to adjust my bid higher, right, to chase more traffic, right? So you realize, right, the higher your bid is, the more traffic that you get. And I'm willing to do that because the conversion rate is good, all right? Okay, so second scenario, low conversions, less than 5% conversion. So what do? Okay, I'll lower the bids down to what we call the break-even level. Why? Right, see, this is the flip side, right? I'm not so confident on this keyword. I don't want to bid so high, right? I'll lower down the bid to the break-even level. So the question over here is this. So Daniel, model looks good, right? But how do I apply this in a meaningful way? So I'm going to share with you a case study on how when you apply this model of conversions, it allows you to achieve certain kind of results. All right? Okay, so here's a case study on growing your organic sales in 3 simple steps. So first things first, quick question over here. Okay, how many of you have this experience, right, that when you are trying to push a certain keyword, okay, and the keyword does not convert well, and you also have this feeling that the keyword is very hard to rank on Amazon? How many of this experience? Okay, great. So that is the situation where if the keyword does not convert well, you tend to find that it's very hard to rank. Okay, what we found is that the reverse is true. And how did we know that? We did our own internal testing, right? Okay, and we found that the reverse is true, that keywords that convert better tend to be able to rank better. So it's a really important insight. You want to get, okay, this is a everybody must raise hand question. Okay, I test you all. Okay, who wants to be ranked high organically? Okay, the rest never raise hand. This is an all raise hand question, okay. Right, so it's very important insight that you must bear in mind. To be able to rank well, you must have high converting keywords, right? Then perhaps the obvious question is why, right? You do realize that Amazon's a marketplace, right? Amazon's a marketplace, they want consumers to buy the product. So if the product converts well, they are incentivized to place that product higher up in the organic rankings. So this is the open secret. Everybody knows this, right? This is the open secret that everybody knows. All right, okay, so this is the insight that we had. And now we talk about specific actions. If you recall earlier on in my conversions model, I had 2 scenarios, right? Low conversion, high conversion. For low converting keywords, what I do is I quickly adjust my bids to the break-even bidding for non-converting keywords. And you can see the result is that my PPC costs start to go down, right? The trend over here starts to go down. So I'm saving a PPC cost. So step number 1. Step number 2, right? I will laser focus all my PPC budget on high converting keywords. You can see over here that, okay, as I'm focusing my attention on high converting keywords, my conversion rate trends upwards. So the combination of doing these two things has this result. Result number one is that you will notice that as I'm focusing my attention on high converting keywords, my organic sales trend upwards. Right? You can see very obviously it trends upwards. And the most important result of this all is that my overall profitability, okay, week on week, okay, by the way, each column is a week, each block is a week on week, started to trend upwards significantly. So this is a combination of creating that spread. What's the spread? I lower down my PPC costs, I increase my organic sales, and this is the result. So this is, right, when you apply keyword conversions or the keyword performance in the conversions model, this is what you would like to be able to see to know that things are moving in the right direction. So quick recap. I mentioned two undervalued metrics. So the first undervalued metric that even veteran sellers are overlooking is this question: is this keyword rankable or not? It's very important, right? You must always ask yourself this question: is the keyword rankable? Keyword rankability, right? So that's the first undervalued metric. So what's the second undervalued metric? I'll share with you in a moment's time. All right? Okay. So again, audience participation, really important. How many of you have experienced this before? Week 1, week 2, week 3, sales are looking good. Then suddenly out of the blue, on week 4, your sales half. How many experienced before? Have, okay, good. No, sorry, not necessarily good. Good in the sense that at least got participation, right? And upon investigating, right, you may find one of these are the contributing factors. One is your ratings drop. Maybe you used to have 5-star, now you have 4-star. So that could be the cause of it. Or you have low inventory levels. Or, right, your competitors drop price, or there's an overall change in the seasonality. So this is what could contribute to this sudden drop in your sales. All right? Okay, so the flip side could also happen. Right? Maybe you had week 1, week 2, week 3, quite normal sales. Then suddenly week 4, okay, it shoot up, right? Double the sales. Then again, upon investigating, this could be some of the reasons. Your own ratings went up, or your competitor was out of stock, or again, seasonality change. So the obvious insight, right, the obvious intuitive insight from this little case study over here is that you not only need to care about your 30-day trend. You need to look at what's happening on the 30-day cycle, but you also want to be very keenly aware of what's happening within the week itself. Very obvious, right? Okay, so with this obvious insight, we then add it on and build it into the convergence model. Again, taking it to the next level. So when I add this on, this insight, that looking at different time frames gives me different insights, right? I'm now able to build on top of this model. So what if this actually happens, and this happens all the time, that when you're looking at your 30-day numbers, your stats for 30 days, it tells you that your keyword is converting well, right? 30 days converting well. But then you look at the 7 days, right? The last 7 days, the most recent data, you then realize that that keyword is not converting well, contradicting information. So how? Right? Okay, so how do we deal with changes in this keyword performance? Or let me change the question. What actions do we take when the keyword rankability changes? Again, bear in mind, I mentioned early on, one of the undervalued metrics that many people overlook is the keyword rankability. The keyword rankability has changed from the 30-day time frame to the 7-day time frame. How do we deal with this? Right? Okay, so here's where, quick recap. Keyword rankability over a certain look-back period. How far you analyze your stats, right, will determine what you should be doing. So this is the problem. So this problem is solved by what I call a scenario-based model. So based on different scenarios, okay, we'll do certain actions. And I'll cover and walk you through all the different scenarios and what to do when you encounter that. All right? Scenario number 1. Okay, one of my favorite is to drive ranking profitably. So this is the first scenario. So would you agree that if you're going to drive ranking profitability, one of the things that you will want to do is to target keywords that perform consistently. So what is consistently? Consistently means over a certain period of time, right? Not 1 day, not 2 days, but over a period of time. You want to target such keywords that perform over the last 30 days. So you look back the last 30 days, and you want to find keywords that are highly rankable, okay, and multiple orders. So multiple orders is very important, because you don't want it to be like a one-hit wonder, right? Just one order. But you want to have multiple orders. So let me translate that into a simple formula on the right. So 30 days, high rankability means high conversion rate above 20%, multiple orders more than 3, and the action I will take is that I'm now confident to bid aggressively for this keyword, all right, upwards of perhaps a 40% target A cost. Of course, the target A cost is relative to your own individual product. This is just a gauge. This number is just a gauge, but it's just to tell you 40% is considered aggressive. So this is scenario number 1, all right? So what we'll be doing, right, in the next couple of minutes is that I'll build out this map with you. So we're now at the first scenario, right? To drive rankings, identify all these high-performing keywords over a good look-back period, okay, and be aggressive on the bidding. Scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is I've been like hammering this concept about rankable keywords. Then how about the non-rankable keywords? How? Do we just ignore them? Right? Okay, so interestingly enough, I have a case study over here to share with you that non-rankable traffic can really be useful as well. I'd like you to pay attention over to this column over here. You notice there's just a bunch of keywords, right? And their conversion rate are single digit, right? 5%, 4%, right? Okay, not great, but still converting. And you want to notice that my CPC, my cost per click, is pretty low, right? Sub $1, like 40 cents, 30 cents, that kind of thing, right? Okay, so the result that's of this, okay, for keywords that don't really rank, that are non-rankable, low conversion rate, and because I bid really, really low, is that I still do get sales, right? I still do get sales, and it does add very nicely into my P&L. Right? So this is the case study to tell you about. Okay, don't ignore your non-rankable keywords. There are still things that you can do. All right, so here's the scenario. Okay, how do you go about identifying non-rankable keywords? Okay, 30-day look-back period. Okay, low rankability, and you've already spent some ad spend. So here's the numbers, right? 30 days, less than 5% conversion rate. You spend at least $10, right? So the focus over here is I want to maximize my profits up front, all right? Okay, and how do I go about doing that is as such. The action I should take is to, okay, adjust my bid to the break-even bidding level. So typically, 20% is a typical profit margin for a product, typical. So I want to adjust my A cost towards my break-even bid, which is about 20% A cost. And you see at the very bottom, I said adjust down up to 99%. What does that mean? Basically, what that means is that I want to adjust my bids really, really fast. Why? Because I already know, right? This is a non-rankable keyword. I want to adjust my bid from what it is at right now to the break-even bid as fast as possible and adjust it at up to a 99% change. So this is what this means. Right? So for non-rankable keywords, adjust very quickly down to your break-even bidding level. So this is scenario number 2. Right? So basically the philosophy is this. Give me cheap, profitable traffic or I don't spend anything. All right? So this is scenario number 2. All right? Okay, moving on to scenario number 3 is how do I go about spotting hidden opportunities in good times? So you probably are familiar with this chart over here. How do I go about spotting? Right, what are the opportunities in the last 7 days? Right, so here's the action plan. Okay, how to identify recent high converting keywords. I now need to shorten my look back period. Right, I look at recent data. Right, okay, because as we talk about it, right, there are different time frames when you analyze them, different insights come about. So when I look at very recent data, I find all the rankable keywords, okay, recently, okay, they have many, many orders that looks like this. In the last 7 days, find all the keywords that are highly converting, more than 10 orders, and the action I want to take is that these keywords have high potential to drive organic sales, organic ranking, and I want to adjust the bids really, really fast, right, okay, to be more aggressive on it. And you'll notice at the bottom of the right-hand side table, it says that 3 days to observe. So what is this? It is now you're now in a fast-changing environment. You don't want to change your bids like today, then you change it tomorrow, again the next day, right? That's you're perhaps what we call over-optimizing. So you want to make an adjustment to your bid, wait for 3 days to see how it performs before you make your next adjustment. So this is really important, right, when you are in a fast-changing environment, right? Have days to observe your bid. Right, observation period to evaluate the performance. Scenario number 3, all right? Scenario number 4 is the flip side of this. How do I go about protecting my profits in bad times? So the idea is basically the reverse, right? The reverse is, okay, the last 7 days, identify all these low converting keywords in the last 7 days. Okay, low rankability, right, many, many clicks. Okay, 7 days, less than 5% conversion rate, many, many clicks, right? Okay, I'm pretty confident that I want to very quickly, again, adjust my bids down to my break-even level. All right, so this is scenario number 4. Okay, scenario number 5 would be something interesting. What I call the unoptimizable bleeders. Right? Okay, so there's a scenario over here where there is so-called nothing much I can do already. So let's talk about what are these. So you might be aware that, okay, there's a minimum bid that you can go to. You cannot go below a certain bid. So for example, sponsored brand video is 25 cents, sponsored headline search is 10 cents. You can't go below that bid anymore. So, okay, so I've gone through 4 scenarios already, so you guys understand the concept already, right? So I'll ask you this question. Given this situation, assuming you are facing this scenario, right, in the last 7 days, you're already at your minimum bid. You're already at 10 cents. You got very high A cost, and this high A cost is above your break-even margins, right? The keyword is not converting well, okay, and it's cost you many, many clicks already. What would you do? Yeah, right? Okay, so what basically you should do, Daniel, right? Yeah. Right, so his mention is, okay, the low capability, sufficient clicks, okay, pause keyword. So if you're in this situation, right, okay, you're better off chopping the keyword. Right, because there's no more further you can go already. Your A cost is so high, okay, and your bid cannot go any lower. You are better off pausing this keyword. So this is what I call cut away unoptimizable keywords. All right, okay, serial number this is 5, okay, 6. Okay, how do I go about managing zero sales? So this will be covered before already. I'll just walk you through quickly. Okay, we talked about this early on. Okay, over X number of days, many, many clicks, 0 orders. Right, basically what I do is I just reduce the bid based on the number of clicks that I get. Right, so the more clicks that you get, right, I'll adjust my bid lower because again, bear in mind, okay, I'm less confident about this keyword, so I just adjust my bid lower. So scenario number 6, right, a few more. Right, scenario number 7 would be what we call cutting the silent bleeders. So what are the silent bleeders? So we talk about 7 days, talk about 30 days. What if we look beyond 30 days, right, more than 30 days? We may be able to identify some of these what we call silent bleeders. So imagine you have this keyword. Okay, every couple of weeks you get maybe like 3 clicks, 6 clicks, whatever. All right, okay, then if you aggregate over 90 days, okay, this particular keyword has cost you 18 clicks with 0 orders. And imagine, let's say your cost per click is $2, right? Okay, so this particular keyword has cost you around $36. So imagine you have 10 such silent bleeders. Over the last 90 days, it has cost you $400, almost $400 with 0 orders. So this is what I call, right, looking at a longer time frame. Okay, identify low volume keywords with clicks without sales over a 90-day period, 0 orders, many clicks, right? Okay, and this is undetected if you're evaluating in the shorter time frame, right? So having the right look back period allows you to look at different insights. So able to dig them out, and right, you're better off pausing them, right? Over the last 90 days, you're given it enough time, right? You're better off pausing all these silent bleeders. All right, okay, and scenario number 8 is what I call the sandwich traffic. Okay, sandwich traffic is basically all the keywords that are neither high performing nor low performing, so they're sandwiched in the middle. Right, okay, so what do we do about this? Right, so last 30 days, some orders, some clicks, right? They're not here, not there. Okay, so basically you want to drive a little bit more traffic, okay, to see how they perform, and potentially these keywords would slot into one of the other scenarios that we talk about. So this is the sandwich traffic scenario. Right, so we're now at the final scenario, and here's where, right, I would like you to walk through this with me. Right? Okay, so assuming that you're at this particular scenario, okay, 30 days, 30 days, in the last 30 days, this keyword has performed really well, above 20% conversion rate, many orders, right? A cost between 30 to 40%. All right, so let's walk through this together. Okay, what the stat suggests to you is that you got good amount of data, last 30 days, right? High rankability, above 20% conversion rate. Many orders, 50 orders, right? Acceptable A cost between 30 to 40%, right? So would you agree that a keyword like this is considered an ideal performance with high sales? So the question over here is that what should we do? All right? So the suggestion over here is to basically do nothing, right? You want to maintain the performance, you want to do nothing, right? Okay, because this is at what we call the ideal state already. Don't touch what is not broken. This is the ideal state. Okay, don't touch what's not broken.
Even though it's in the stage of loss.
No, this will assume, of course, that it's in a profitable state.
But it could be like this, but loss.
Possible, right? But in this scenario, I'm assuming it's profitable. Yeah, right? So in this particular case, you will do nothing. Yeah. So maybe if your case, your profit margin is 10%, right? Then of course, this is loss making, right? But typically, right, a product is between like 30%, 35%, that kind of thing. Yeah. Right? All right, so these are the 9 different scenarios, okay, that forms the scenario-based model. So what will make in terms of your bidding, that's also possible as well. In fact, Hui Chi has a way to adjust the budget, right? Okay, so you could potentially increase the budget as well, right? So later we'll have to ask her if this kind of levels, right, can we increase the budget or not? Is there a way to set a rule? Later we ask her. Okay, all right, okay. So moving on. So the question over here is this, Daniel, right? I have this scenarios model. How could I potentially set up everything over here in a couple of minutes? So here's where I'll just do a quick software demo on how a software like Scale Insights could help you to implement all these things in a couple of minutes. So the good thing is, right, all the scenarios that I mentioned to you earlier on are already preset as rules within the software already, right? You saw all those conditions, like how many clicks are, how many percentage conversion rate, what is the A cost, all these things. All these are preset as individual rules inside Scale Insights, right? Okay, so they're preset already. So the next step would then to be create what we call a scenario-based objective, right? Okay, so you need to create this because maybe of the 9 scenarios, you only want to use 7, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, we're not saying you must use every single scenario, right? Let's say you want to use 7, all right? Then you give the scenario a name. So we call it like scenario-based bidding. So within the software, you have the flexibility to decide which scenario you want, right? Okay, and create an objective. And after that, basically what you do is that you assign this objective to your campaigns, right? Objective, campaigns. And the end result is that you're basically assigning the rules, which are the scenarios, to all your individual ad groups. So that's the end result. Okay, and the really nice thing is that you can actually do a preview. You can do a preview on what the software will do for you right now if the rules were triggered. Right? You can do a preview on the changes that the software will make in terms of your bidding. All right? Okay, and you can actually mouse over on the new bid and it'll tell you exactly, right, okay, why the software made that change for you. Right? If you recall, there was a speaker just now, she was saying that the Chinese sellers had to wake up in the middle of the night to adjust their bids. I don't think anybody likes that, right? So potentially a software like this, okay, will allow you to have all these changes done for you based on all the predefined scenarios within the software. All right, okay, so the question over here is this, right? Okay, how does this look like in the real world, right? Okay, how are people actually implementing this, and what are the kind of results they're getting, right? So I have a friend of mine, his name is Anthony, is a multiple seven-figure brand owner, right? And using a similar scenario-based model, okay, he's doing over 200,000 bid adjustments. Right, so the numbers just to kind of like give you an idea that in reality, right? Okay, to really have an advantage over other sellers, right? This is the kind of volume of changes that you potentially have to make, because there's so many scenarios, so many keywords, so many campaigns, right? So many ad groups. So this is the kind of volume that he's doing. So there are other features in the software that we don't have time to go through, right? In terms of like import rules, negation rules, that kind of things. Right, so there are other features in the software. But today's focus is really more on bidding, right? And these are the things that people are actually doing, okay, in terms of automation, right? So at this juncture, I'll be happy to take questions in terms of what I've just covered, in terms of automation, or anything that you have in mind. Yes, go ahead.
This bidding exercise that you just shared with us, is there like a certain amount of inventory that you gotta maintain?
Okay, so in inventory, it's, I would say, outside the scope of bidding optimization. Generally speaking, you have to have good inventory, right? Because this is it's not a digital product, it's a physical product, right? So inventory management has another side in terms of like automation that does projection for you how much inventory you must keep. But typically it will be at least 1 month, right, in Amazon FC, 1 month that's on the way, right, and then another month being produced by your supplier. So that's a good kind of like an overarching philosophy, right? So, yeah. So inventory levels is a must to manage, because if you have zero inventory, Amazon doesn't show your ads at all. Yeah. Yes.
Adding to this question, can we add some rules that based on the number of inventory?
Secure insights not yet. This one must ask the gentleman over there, Luke. So Luke is our CEO, right? So he's the brainchild behind the software. So inventory levels are definitely something we're looking at as well. Because that does make sense, right? What if I'm so aggressive on my ads bidding, and it's really performing, and my inventories go down, perhaps I want to kick in, right, to adjust the bidding, right? So that's useful feedback, yeah, right?
Or maybe like pause.
Yeah, maybe pause, right? Yeah. No, you automatically pause because when the
because I see the inventory is low.
yes, yeah. So fortunately, unfortunately, now that's still managed manually, but that's definitely something on our roadmap. Yeah. Right. Okay. So in any case, I prepared a couple of frequently asked questions. Yes, go ahead, please. Yes.
With this software itself, does the software sort of advise us in terms of what's the budget, or do we basically manually preset a budget?
Okay, so budget-wise, I think what the budget optimization currently, the Amazon one does a better job, right? Okay, so that they have more flexibility in terms of of the adjustment of the budget. So Luke, you want to add on? Feel free to add on, right? Yeah.
How does your software sort of ties in with the budget that's set on?
Okay, so for our software, right, we kind of assume that you are aware of what is the budget that you need. So the general idea is this: I'm honestly less concerned about the budget, right? I'm more concerned about the individual bid that I'm making, because I could be losing money because I'm overbidding on the keyword that's not converting, right? Or I could be underperforming because my bid is too low for a keyword that's performing. So that's kind of the niche that we are playing right now. Sure. Yeah, right.
Okay, so it's sort of like helping to calibrate.
Yes, to calibrate the high converting, low converting, and the look back period. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just, how much time do we have left? Yeah, 5 minutes is planning it, right? Okay, so a few FAQ questions. Okay, feel free to ask any questions if you have, just raise your hand. I'll just invite Luke up, right, just to tackle a few questions that are often asked by people who are considering using the scenario-based model. Okay, so a frequently asked question is, okay, should the scenario-based model be applied to all campaigns or just certain type of campaigns? Yeah.
So there are different types of campaigns that people have. So for example, one of the common types of campaign some of big sellers are using, they are using something called a single keyword campaign. So the scenario base is not really for those type of campaign. It's more for those types of discovery campaign where you are really driving traffic to uncover keyword and to try to rank those easily rankable keywords.
Right. Okay, sure. Then are we able to customize the individual ACOS levels, loopback period, observation period within the rule itself? Should we like hard and fast follow the one I just showed you on the screen, or can you customize them? So this is a very commonly asked question as well.
Yeah, so when we create all the preset, we have a certain presupposition of certain types of product, which life cycle it is. So whereas we try to come up with something very generic, it is often better for you to really look at your own product profit margin and also to customize them based on your own scenario. The main thing is try to see what you're doing and that's driving you result, and basically tweak everything to model after what you are doing manually that's been driving results.
Right. So generally speaking, right, like I mentioned earlier on, the software already has the template for you already. You can easily customize it from there. All right. Okay. The last frequently asked question is that, okay, you notice I've been primarily talking about sponsored products. So can this be similarly applied to sponsored display, sponsored brands, and product targeting? Another commonly asked question.
Yes, we can.
Okay, short answer is can. Right, so it can be used for all your ad types. All right, okay, so on this note, as we are kind of like winding things down, right, before we take further questions, just a quick shout out to our software, scaleinsights.com. It allows you to automate everything that I just shared with you earlier on and more. So the good thing is that you do get a 30-day free trial when you hop onto our software, right? It allows you to then onboard all your data. Okay, we have an analytics feature, right, to allow you to see what are all the insights that you can gather. Right, we do have a sales trend feature, okay, and we also have the automation feature. Okay, we do have content lined up for you once you sign up. Okay, we do have a Facebook group as well, right? So this is the sign up link scaleinsights.com/prime2023. Okay, and upon your first subscription, you do get a 20% off. So that's the offer that we have today. And on that note, I'll be happy to take more questions. If there isn't, I'll also invite Hui Chi up to kind of just wrap up the session over here.